Have you ever been to an art fair? For art enthusiasts, it's become the fastest way to discover new artists and buy artworks. Depending on the fair, there are easily dozens of galleries and hundreds of art pieces, all conveniently located in one place. Depending on your budget or your taste in art, it doesn't matter because there is probably an art fair for you. In the last decade, art fairs have been growing significantly all around the world, and the trend doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. To give you an example, during Art Week in Miami every December, there are over 20 international art fairs, more than 1,200 galleries, and thousands of artists exhibiting at the same time. In Canada, there are two main art fairs, which are Art Toronto and Papier, which is in Montreal. Jean-François, thanks so much for being here today at
Thanks for having
Papier.
me.
Thank you at the opening of the 2019.
The pre-opening. No one is around. We're very lucky.
Very lucky. So can we just get a little bit of a understanding of what exactly is an art fair?
So it's basically a trade show.
Okay.
Most industries have the same thing where different companies come together for 3 or 4 or 5 days and show their wares basically for a limited public. But the art fairs are different in the sense that it's not for a limited public, it's open to everyone. Mm-hmm. And the companies that bring their wares are galleries that bring their artists. They bring new productions, new artworks, and get a lot of energy into showcasing what has been done that is the best art of the last year.
Of the last year. So they do curate for the year, and I guess a lot of these art fairs are recurring annually.
Exactly.
Do you know like what the history is of this kind of fair?
Well, the idea of fairs started really in the 19th century. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
For the art world, it's a bit more recent. I don't have the exact date. If I remember well, I think the Armory Show in New York is probably one of the oldest ones. Mm-hmm. And it's still a very well-attended fair that happens in March in New York every year. But the one that we probably know best in North America is Art Basel Miami.
Yeah.
It happens the first weekend of December. Very bad time of the year to leave Canada and go down south.
Yeah, terrible. I don't know.
It's very
Who would
unenjoyable.
go there?
But so it happens the first weekend of December every year.
Yeah.
It started in 1998.
And I went to Miami this year. It was like crazy. There was dozens of art fairs going on, so hundreds of galleries.
That's the crazy thing,
Yeah.
is that it's always the same thing. Anywhere you go in the world, it starts with one art fair. And if the art fair does well, if the galleries sell well, then all galleries, more and more galleries apply to do the art fair. Mm-hmm. And you can host 100 to 150 galleries, not much more than that, before you turn into too big and unmanageable, and not very interesting for the clients. So other art fairs appear.
And why do you think this is happening like around the world, this growth of art fairs?
I think it answers a need, a very serious need for me as a professional, but I think for a lot of collectors as well. They're extremely convenient. Mm-hmm. Under one roof, you can walk around and see more art than you would see through a 1-month trip in the States or in Europe or in Canada. So they're extremely useful and they're fun. Mm-hmm. I think they also in the 2000s they also became very trendy.
Yeah, trendy for sure.
So you end up with big parties and galas and exclusive nights and obviously if the price points of the artworks is high, then the people that they attract are rather wealthy.
Yeah, so it's creating these different types of parties, I guess, and depending on the art fair, there's different crowd, and
Exactly.
and I think that's definitely interesting. And how do you think like the art industry is impacted? Like, is there only positive things, or is there like
The way you approach an artwork in an art fair versus in a gallery or in a museum setting is very different. This space here now is completely empty and calm and quiet.
Yeah,
but the second the doors open, it turns into a madhouse.
Oh, yeah.
I think they average about 20,000 visitors in 3 days at Papier.
yeah,
That means that you're extremely stimulated. There's a lot happening everywhere. There are people everywhere, and your time with an artwork is very limited. It's maybe 30 seconds, a minute before you get bumped into or something happens, which is great because it allows you to see a lot of things. But it also has a downside of not be able to go into each artwork and really look at it and really talk about it as much as you would in a quieter setting. That being said, I mean, I think that's the only negative aspect that I can think of, because otherwise everything else is
it creates like a engagement towards the art community,
Yeah.
and like compared to the rest of the world, Papier has grown a lot.
Yeah.
But I've been to huge like Art Basel in Miami. Like, how do we compare to like the rest of the world?
Well, it's a niche fair, right? It's not, the name says it. It was originally a fair that featured only works on paper. I think one of the specificities of Papier that allowed it to develop very nicely is that medium-specific angle, and it has allowed it to grow steadily. In numbers of people attending, of course, but also to grow in the eye of the art world, the art community throughout North America, which is very nice. If you open a new art fair that is sort of just a mismatch of everything, and you try to fight it out against the big boys that literally throw down millions of dollars every year to make their fair happen, you're going to come out on the losing side for sure.
For sure.
If you establish your playground very specifically, as Papier did, then there's very little competition.
Right.
So year after year, the word gets spread around and makes its way across North America.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being here
Pleasure.
today and
That was fun.
explaining to us the art fairs.
Come and visit Papier. Well, you're here now, so we'll get to do the tour.
A multidisciplinary artist, Eric Lamontagne is interested in perception by blurring the boundaries between reality and fiction. In his works, he is inspired by art, science, and the different ways of representing reality. He explores the visual universe in a multitude of styles and techniques. He has had quite a fulfilling career so far as a visual artist, which includes having many individual exhibitions, receiving multiple grants and awards, and being part of impressive public and private collections. Eric, this is your studio. It's really exactly what I would expect from a visual artist. It's a little all over the place. There's lots going on. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
About my studio, well, like you see, it's not so clean, but it's a studio, so I really like it because it's a good space. So
How long have you had it?
3 years now, I think.
Okay,
So,
and you
yeah.
do you have a certain schedule that helps you be creative?
Yes, I'm like a real worker, so
Yeah.
I start at, well, maybe 10, because 9, it's too early for me, maybe. Then after that, I work until 5,
Okay.
and sometimes I come back for the night, and I like also, it's
Nighttime.
different, yes, nightlife.
Is there like a special way of working that you have to help you with your creativity? Music or anything like that?
Oh yes, music, like you see there, it's really important for me. I listen a lot of music
It
different
inspires
times.
you?
Yes, inspires me and give me a beat to
Yeah.
yes.
So there's all kinds of things around us. There's installations, there's paintings, there's silk screens. Can you tell us about something maybe that's being worked on right now?
Right now, can I start with the old work?
Yeah,
Not so
of course.
old, but yes, okay. You see this painting. It's part of a series
Yeah.
called peindre une toile or painting a canvas, if you want. And the idea was because it's a monochrome. I start to think about monochrome, and a monochrome it's an image without an image. So I think it's interesting. And for this project, I fold a canvas. I vectorize the canvas, and after that, I try to paint the canvas, the result of the scan. What I like, it's in the same time it's illusion. Okay, it's like a hyper-realistic painting, but in the same time it's abstract.
Yeah. It actually, like from far, you might think it's a photo, or you might not even realize what it is right away. So it definitely seems to be a bit of an illusion.
Yes, that's right. When you come, if you look carefully, you see the touch of the paint on the canvas.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's different than a photograph, I think.
So Eric, why did you decide to become a visual artist?
Like like a lot of other artists, I think it's because I was good when I make nice drawing when I was young and stuff like that. So.
And you like to observe and to create new things.
Yes. I like to create things, and also it was like a passport to travel with my imagination, and it was really yes, it was a good moment all the time, so that's why I decided to.
And of course today you're an accomplished artist, you've had some success. Can you tell us a little bit about the milestones that were important to you in your career so far?
I think when you join a gallery like me at Harmer, and also Clark Gallery, it was important because it's an asset for an artist to be in a gallery. It's a partnership, and it's like a family also. So it's helped a lot.
And your art has been acquired by some big collections, so I think that's also quite important.
Yes, of course it's important because it's. But I don't care about it. Somewhere I just do what I want. Yes, that's it.
And I noticed that you are using an alter ego at times called Pierre Laroche, which translates to rock.
Yes.
So obviously it's a little funny, but I think it represents something to you and the way you work when you're under that name. Why did you decide to use that?
Well, it's I'm working with perception, and it's another kind of illusion. Also, I play with the idea. It's really important for an artist, the name of the artist. If you have to sign your work and stuff like that. So I try to play with this notion of the signature and stuff like that.
And does the work look the same, or is it completely different?
It's completely different. Yeah, it gives me also the opportunity to make something else.
Yeah.
This painting is inspired by drinking scene of Krigov, and it represents a glass of spilled wine that contains the representation of vernissage populated with zombies.
Zombies?
Yes. If you look carefully, you will see a girl with his cell. She's a modern zombie, if you want. Yeah, the folk is very important in my in this series because my inspiration comes from this folk from Quebec, especially. Yeah. I put the sign, the construction sign, because We can see them everywhere.
Yes,
but,
we can.
but in the same time, in the painting, it's interesting, I think, because it makes a contrast. Yeah, this painting, it's a bottle in a river, and there's we can see a dead fish. So it's maybe it's talk about the landscape and the landscape is in danger. So you can see a world inside the bottle. This little girl is, we can see her in the Krieghoff paintings. She's always like looking at the world and yeah, she's like children looking at the adult world.
Mm-hmm. So Eric, I know you use a lot of mediums and different ways of expressing your art. Can you tell us in detail more the process that you have for a certain piece?
Mm-hmm. I start with an idea, and after that I do a lot of sketches, and I use computer. I make a model in computer.
A 3D model?
A 3D model, yeah.
For installation.
For the installation, yeah. I like it because it's gives me the opportunity to the chance to try a lot of different things, especially when it's an installation. Mm-hmm. After that, I transpose it in a cardboard model. Mm-hmm. From there, there's again another transposition. There's a transformation in the process. Then I try to make some technical research, mm-hmm. and because you know you have different problems and you have all the time, mm-hmm. and finally I make the piece.
And since you use different mediums like installations and painting, which are very different skill sets, how do you decide, like, is there ever where you're wondering like maybe I should specialize in one so that you become better at one, or how do you like decide and balance that?
I don't think about it,
yeah.
You know, no. I think painting, the painting is I like to paint, and maybe it's my first medium.
Right, I understand.
Yes, yes.
And then it evolves with time.
I start with painting. I think like a painter more than a sculptor, I think.
Yeah, and your work has been presented in art fairs, including Papier in Montreal, which is quite large in Canada. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about your experience working with an art fair and having your work exposed there?
It's always interesting because you can meet different other artists from other galleries, mm-hmm. and you can also see what is in the air, because mm-hmm. There's a lot of gallery in the same time and in one spot, so you can show your work. To
get discovered.
Discover for also the collector. It's interesting to meet the collector, because in an art fair the real collector are there. You know?
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, thank you so much for having us today. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Creativity is a second life for me. You know, you can go somewhere else. It's another world. Yes, I think the creativity is something natural, because if you look at the children, it starts very young, but maybe you lost your creativity after. I would like to interview Superman, because he's very strong, and everything is possible for him. The most important thing to be an artist is authenticity. To be yourself. I think we are looking for this state of mind all the time. I think it's the most important. If I would like to change something in our world, maybe it's more creativity, more smile everywhere. I think art is sometimes it's the first for a larger movement. So start with little change in studio, in an exhibition, or in a film, and after that, people. I think there's an influence there. Maybe I hope we have a role, but sometimes when people, I think if they have just a good moment at looking at your work, it's already something for me.
The Contemporary Art Galleries Association, also known as the AGAC, is a non-profit organization that brings together galleries across Canada. The association defends the moral and economic interest of its members and ensures the recognition and prosperity of the market for contemporary art in Canada. This organization is also responsible for the second largest art fair in Canada, called Papier. This year, it is being hosted in Old Montreal. Julie, thanks for having us. You are the director of the AGAC, which has been around for over 30 years. And we are here at Papier, the art fair, which is in its 12th edition, but first time here in Old Montreal. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization?
Yes, we're an association of gallery, the commercial contemporary art galleries. So our mission is to stimulate the art market. We're creating business opportunity to the galleries, so Papier is the main example of this, and we're trying to give exposure to their artists as much as we can. To be a successful gallery today, you need to participate in art fairs because the reality has changed. People are less coming to visit exhibition, and people are just too busy in life.
Yeah.
So being part of the buzz and the fun of being in an event brings people, So you need to be there. That's why galleries spend so much to participate into international art fairs. It's because art fairs is just the place to be for collectors. So they don't go to every openings, but they have in their calendars, they don't miss the art fairs. So for the galleries, it's the place to be also. This role of being a gallerist is it's really special because you're passionate, you work like crazy for your artists. It's almost like being a mother.
Yeah.
You're
you really want to help your artists get better and bigger and get more people to collect their art.
Yeah, the gallerist is one of the main complaints for the career of the artist.
So how can an art fair such as this one impact the career of an artist?
I would say that a bit like a famous contest that you won, or a great exhibition in a museum. Being part of an art fair, being there is just an achievement, and it's it can promote the career so much that every artist wants their gallery to bring them. So this is also one of the reasons why we open to other medium, because the galleries were bringing year after year quite the same artist who works on paper, So all the other artists were like, oh, it's fun, but I'd like to be there too, So let's do a work on paper, So the gallery were starting to push on us to evaluate, and now there's every artist represented by the gallery has the chance to show at Papier, and this is great. Yeah.
So what is actually the regulations in terms of the type of art that's shown here? I know it used to be all paper, and now
it has to be 50% maximum of paper, because we're still the Papier art fair, and we want to stay with our history, and we like also to keep the price point affordable. So the works on paper still is the majority, but the other 50%, the gallery has. It's totally open. They can show painting, video, sculptures.
And why do you think we should buy art? Why do you think we should do that?
Well, basically everybody has walls. You know,
We do,
That's-
yeah.
that's the
Usually, if you
beginning.
have a home,
Well, if you
Yeah.
have a roof, you have walls. So then you need to put something on your walls, you know. And instead of going to IKEA or buying like posters, when you start to buy art from an artist, I think it's there's a change. You feel it in your home. Sometimes it's scary because it's more expensive, and people are like, "Well, I love it, but I'm not sure I can afford it." And what they don't know is, you know, you can pay by installment, and at the end, the benefits are so much bigger.
Yeah.
So I think I would recommend it. The first answer is, you know, for your own pleasure.
yeah, for your own pleasure.
Of course.
And like discovering artists and artworks and figuring out what you like is actually quite a nice hobby, I find. Like it's,
No, that's true, because obviously it's like any passion, like your
Yeah.
taste developed, and most people will say that their first artwork they purchase like 2-3 years after wouldn't be the same.
yeah.
But that's true. It's part of the it's part of the
like,
fun.
Thank you so much for having us here. It's such a beautiful art fair. Honestly, it's really wonderful to be here and to see it first time at the Quay in the Old Port, and we're looking forward to seeing more.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm really happy of having you here for the first time. We're also very excited about this new venue, which is huge, and I think we'll see what the result will be about this VIP night that we're having right now. But I think right now the results are quite positive. Everybody
Yeah.
seems very excited. So hopefully we'll see you next year at the same venue.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Thank
for inviting me.
you. Even though it's difficult to fully understand it today, it's clear that art fairs are having an impact on the art industry and the way we consume art. From satisfying your curiosity to developing your taste in art or becoming an art collector, visiting an art fair can be an enriching experience.